Testing, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Oh, the birds. Dang it. 1 second. Be right back for anyone that's here. Okay, cool. Sorry, I had to go take care of the birds. So Ty, hey Ty. Skell, hey Skell. Hope you're doing well, Skell. But of course, just hope you're chugging along. And then Amar okay, hey Amar okay, hey. Oh, that's a new profile pic, Deathray. It almost threw me for a loop. Hey Omar, Deathray, what are you thinking about Eden Zero? Omar, there's also spoilers for One Piece. The One Piece spoilers I'm excited about because it's like now the Sanji fight, and the Sanji fight for me, it's I'm excited. The Sanji fight, I'm super excited. What I think is gonna happen is that we're gonna do Sanji fight, and then maybe we'll go back to Zoro, which is really like just kind of weird structure in general. But maybe Oda wants to give Sanji a little bit because Zoro did get a bit with Kaido. Good to hear, Skel. Good to hear. We'll have to finish watching those Star Wars episodes on the weekend. And hey, Matt and Ty, Guy, rest. That's all I can really say. Like, I'd rather you rest. Well, actually, Ty, I do like speaking with you as part of the group here, but probably good for you to rest if you're exhausted. Anyway, guys, Skel, I didn't think that you were gonna show up today, so that's why I didn't put on Arknight. But since you're here, Skell, are you relatively up to date on the meta with Arknights? Like, what are the gameplay habits that I should have for Arknights if I want to succeed? Let me know. Hey, Jason. Hey, Speed. And yes, Speed. I was just telling Omar about them. I was telling Omar that I'm excited because I like Sanji. I thought that this was going to be happening. That Sanji was going to get a power up. Very excited to see it. I can't wait, honestly. Scaly. Okay, we have the event going on here. Let's just finish this up. Overall, this little event, I found it really cute. Honestly, if MiHoYo had said that this event was, well, if they said this was part of the anniversary, I think people would have been okay with it. Oh, Zhang Li's here. Excellent. Good old GeoDaddy.
It's you. Hello there.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh, bless my soul. Are you out for a stroll as well?
Given the season, it felt fitting to take a
Oh, Jason, that's interesting. Let me go through this and then we'll talk about that.
Quite right. And it also gave us the chance to run into you. Groba may not recognize you, but as ever, he seems quite delighted.
So, Groba doesn't remember anything?
Friendship will always withstand the
So for those that don't know, Groba is a god who's lost his memory because of losing god power. And now he just has the heart, like, the memory of the feelings.
Moon chase. The moon is a carrier of countless emotions. So many things only seem to surface as we gaze up beneath its poignant glow. Wherever the moonlight shines, the heart is wont to follow. Fond memories of those no longer with us. Debts of gratitude to old friends. The meaning of ages past and gone. All wrapped up in the city that has existed for so many... All these things and more.
Okay, Jason, I'm still reading your comments here. Yeah, actually, how long is 5 volumes? I could look at One Piece, but I don't know the number off the top of my head.
Beautiful sight to see. Such exuberant life force. It seems to well up from deep within the land itself. A land that has been in existence for so many millennia, and yet one that still dazzles today.
And yes, Pete, it does sound odd. I think, but that's like usually the thing is like whenever someone loses their memories, the feelings, they always seem to remember their feelings, right? That's what anime does a lot.
This moon
1 second, let's just get through this. Let's just get through this. 40 chapters. Ah, good, done. To be continued. Huh. Okay, so I'm not going to talk to her. That's okay. Okay, so let me get back to this. So, Death Ray hasn't read the chapter because after school program. That's good, Death Ray. Go to after school. Skell said, habits are play characters I think are cute. Okay, Skell, but like, is there anything I should be doing to guarantee I get more cute characters? Like, you must want cute characters, so you must be doing stuff to get more of the premium currency. Omar said, I want more Zoro because I want Zoro to shut the haters up. It's annoying that they call him fodder and trash. What? Who calls Zoro fodder and trash? Everyone knows Zoro's like the second strongest in the crew, if not the strongest. It really depends. Like, if you had Zoro and Luffy fight one-on-one multiple times, probably Luffy like wins 60% of the time, but I do think Zoro could probably take a good couple of hits on Luffy. Maybe not 40%, but he could probably win a few of those fights. Heck, they might be able to go for a few days, like Aokiji and Akainu style. Who's calling Zoro fodder? That's dumb. I'm of the belief after reading a chapter that she may be All Might's real secret love child. Really, Ty? Really? That's an interesting idea, Ty. So Jason, so this is the comment that I was reading here. Jason said, I actually really want to talk to you this week. So Hody released a potentially distressing comment in the recent volume release that he intended the final act to be about 5 volumes. But now he's not so sure. I'm hoping he's not stressed out or bored of Hero Academia, or maybe he's reached his writing limits. I don't want a repeat of Bleach, a great but flawed series, because the manga became too much for the mangaka towards the end. In the beginning, about 9 chapters per volume, but it's inconsistent. Sometimes it's 9, but it can be as much as 11. Alright. Will the Ganriki lady appear in the story? Ganriki? Wait, what was that referring to? The Ganriki lady... Ganriki... Wait, what? I'm so confused as to that comment. I know that's White Despair quoting, but I don't know. What does the Ganriki refer to? Anyway... oh, this is going to be tough here. Okay, so I've caught up to your comments. So let's go back to the Jason talk here. So first I want to defend Bleach. Like, really, the issue with Bleach was I think Kubo has too much ideas. And he, like you said it, right? It was too much for him at the end. But that's, I think, partly because he had too many ideas. And he takes way too long on certain fights. Like, I don't know, Jason, but you might have noticed that in Bleach, some villains last forever. You know, like the number 2 Espada, the one that could age people, he lasted forever. Masculine, I believe, Master Masculine, he lasted way too long. And then whenever Mayuri shows up, Mayuri like just soaks up so much time. Like, yeah, Kubo just had too many ideas, and he spent too many he spent too many minutes on really characters that shouldn't have been spent that much time on. But yeah, I don't think it's a Kubo situation, because also with Bleach was waning in popularity, which is what led to it being cut out. Definitely, you know, when you say it's too much for him, it's like I have to agree, just because like everything that we've seen, Kubo still really excels as an idea guy, but he really should have someone else plan out the story for him, because when he does that, things just flow so much better. But going back to Horikoshi here, that's interesting. But you know, that is weird. Saying that your final act would be, let's say, 40. So you're saying it's 9 chapters, right? So let's assume 11, 5 volumes, 55 chapters at most. That's kind of insane. Because if that was the case, we're already kind of halfway there. Yeah, no, that's an insane comment, no matter how you look at it. Even if you look at the first and second acts, and you know the acts are defined by Camino, 100 chapters for the first act is reasonable. The second act is almost always the longest. But the third act being so short, what exactly did he plan? Well, look, if that's actually what he's thinking here, if he was thinking that it was going to be 55 chapters, that kind of justifies the weirdness of the pacing in general of it going so fast. What a strange situation. And the thing is, he's a manga artist. He knows that usually whenever he well, they should know whenever they estimate lengths for their series, they know that they should add a few more chapters onto it. But going in with only thinking 5 volumes to cover an act, I mean, that still puts us in line. Well, actually, that would put us, we would end before chapter 400. What a strange situation. Hopefully it's more lighthearted. Hopefully there's nothing negative going on in the background here with him being bored of Hero Academia or stressed out. Hopefully it's just a natural flow. That said, what we really have to look at here is that in terms of, if he's thinking that it was going to be about 5 volumes, that does tell us like big ideas. That does tell us how many big ideas he was probably expecting. So when we talk about big ideas, we're not talking about chapters that meander for too long. Like, we're not talking about like Ochako's 3-chapter run or like the 3-chapter run of explaining things. So when we're looking at things like that, you know, Ochako's thing lasts for 3 chapters, but it's one idea. If you have 55 chapters, there's only so many big ideas that you can have in that area. That's interesting. It's really interesting. There's so many implications here. And now with All Might's American counterpart showing up here as well. Yeah, I guess things are being accelerated no matter how you look at it. We also have Shigaraki being done in 3 days. Everything's just accelerating. That probably means we're not going to get a lot of slice of life. That probably means we're not getting a chill out arc. Why does he think he should be going so quickly? Yeah, no, really interesting. Snipe his trader because he got a chance to finish it. Oh, he got a chance to finish Shigi off by headshot. Well, John, that is pretty wild. Let's see. Basically, Horikoshi's original prediction was that after Tadara's breakout, the series would be concluded in 50 to 55 chapters. For me, the current arc was disappointing because Ocean 6 were farther, but Shura vs. Shiki and Nero vs. Ziggy is really good. Yeah. Those fights are really good. Stories don't answer every question by the end, usually. I'm trying to think. Are there any stories that actually did answer every question? Assassination Classroom answered every question I had. I wasn't really left wanting. Naruto tried to answer most questions it had with the tie-in novels, so I really appreciated that. Bleach still has many questions, but that's to be expected. Yeah, no, some stories are able to do it. Did FMA answer every question? I feel like maybe it did. I just find a little bit that he have the war arc, which was 5 volumes, and then have the entire act being equal and left to just the previous arc. Yeah, no, I don't think he took into account how fights stretch things out and how much he meanders. That's why when you look at the 5-volume comment, you really got to be thinking about how many major ideas are coming up, right? So one of the metrics that we used before was the speed with which the quirks were unleashed. Like, knowing that he only had 5 arcs, it actually makes sense why the quirks have come out as quickly as they did and not as slowly as the first couple did. So if I was to talk about big plot points, like, we still have to deal with Dobby. We still have to get the Second's flashback and how One for All originated. We still need to have a thing of Toga. Yeah, at that point, Toga's not coming back unless she's coming back to save Shigaraki. The next time Toga shows up, it's because she's going to be helping with Shigaraki, most likely. Aside from, like, little mentions, probably there. What other major plot points? The All Might prediction of his death also is probably going to be answered. Big movements. Shoto's culmination of his character arc. Hawks' moment. Sero's moment, maybe. Then we have Shinzo and Monoma and their moment that we know we're getting, and the Shoji storyline. At that point, if he thinks he only had 5 volumes to wrap this up, and the Shoji storyline is supposed to be in there along with Izuku's father and that storyline, We know he had those in mind. So if he's going to come out and do that... Yeah, Battle at UA. Battle of UA has to be the final arc. There's just no way around it. I used to think that maybe Battle UA would be the penultimate arc. But now it seems like if you have that metric of 5 volumes, that seems like Battle of UA is done right then and there. Do you think there's going to be a part 2 since I don't believe this will cover everything? It depends on how much money they think they can make. If Hero Academia continues to be profitable, they might even also do like Hero Academia movies the way the Dragon Ball Super does. So people are posting about that situation, about the My Hero Academia situation. Oh, really? Yeah. Jason says, if we go by the logic of Naruto's mangaka, if you plan an arc to be a certain amount of chapter, be prepared to double it during actual execution. Yeah, and if you are like Oda, who thought that the manga would be done before 2010, you got to make sure that you like quadruple your initial estimates to figure out how long One Piece will actually go. The war arc alone was 50-something chapters, and it was only one battle. Maybe this in 3 days confrontation was meant to be the real final battle. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking there. Yeah, I feel like that's the same thing with Kishimoto. Great ideas, but he needs an editor to help bring them to life. That's why Samurai 8 failed. Well, no, Samurai 8 failed because like he forgot his readers. He started his readers off on the deep end. Like if you go and you look at Samurai 8, Samurai 8 has way too much jargon. And it's way too much world building, and it's too much boring world building. Too many terms are thrown at you. Like Samurai 8 is not designed to bring in new fans. It's just very unreadable in that regard. You need to be like a really hardcore shonen fan to be able to get into Samurai 8. But like, especially for Shonen Jump, you need a certain amount of a hook to be able to get people on board. And if you don't have that hook, you're pretty much busted. Even Kishimoto couldn't save himself in this situation. Samurai 8 is, I think, a product of the guy forgetting his audience and forgetting that he has to start small and scale up from there. Mind you, I don't think is like the editor that he had in the situation helped. Like Kishimoto's problem again is that I think he got used to this. He got used to Naruto's endgame storytelling, and he wanted to start Samurai 8 with Naruto endgame Sage of Six Paths level of lore. But he's not good. Like, let's face it, Naruto's Sage of Six Paths lore isn't well executed. It just kind of comes out of nowhere. Like, we all know the joke, Kaguya just shows up out of nowhere. It's not well done. So he took that comfort and he implemented it into a new series when that technique itself wasn't good. Like, the fact that Samurai 8 lasted 60 chapters in of itself is still a little bit of a marvel. Right? 60 something, I think it was 60 something chapters. It lasted way too long for how much stuff was going on. Yo, Matt, I actually, yeah, that's more likely, I think. But they probably have a professional relationship. White Spur said, the thing I find strange from that is that Izuku is still only at 45%. Was he intending to have Izuku go from 45 to 100 within 5 volumes, assuming there wouldn't be a time skip? Would be really fast and unusual for him. Well, if you look at it, Izuku's pulling off pseudo 100, right? Like, the leaps are already pretty aggressive. But there probably will be a time skip. Okay, so Jason's also thinking, like, maybe a sequel. So what are your thoughts about the latest chapter of Yozakura Family? I thought it was really interesting, man. But I love that the entire family showed up to thwart the dad. That was really cool. I thought it was really good. I decided against it. There's a likelihood I'm decided I'm getting Child simply because there's a likelihood that he doesn't get another rerun for a very long time after this one. I've been going all out to get all the primos I can. Okay, Viz, good luck. Good luck. I'm saving up for Yai. A lot of hit shonen are getting close to ending. What's next for Shonen Jump after this? It would be like after this, Shonen Jump's gonna be looking for new series. The thing is, when all the big series die, it'll allow a few series to go up in the rankings, and once those series go up in the rankings, it'll allow those to become the new lifeblood of Shonen Jump. Now, looking at the series, has there been a sensational hit aside from the gag mangas? It's gonna be interesting to see how exactly we deal with some of these replacements in the future. But I think Jason's also been mentioning this for a long time, that there's quite a few series that are coming to an end here. He has too much to touch on: Deku's mastery, Todoroki's family resolution, Alpha and Shigi, Toga's plot point, All Might's potential death, what the international heroes add, Shinzo, yeah. He thinks he will do it in fight, so expect to be 10. That's more appropriate, right? Like we've been saying, chapter 400, 500. Between those 2 points is where we're going to end. Shindo and Monoma, Shoji, Shindo, okay. Izuku's father, UA trader, second user quirk, Nada's prediction, yep. I thought the story was going to end with Izuku at 75. Well, maybe. To be fair, he did say that the sport was supposed to be way shorter than it ended up being. Seems like he's not the greatest when making this sort of calculations. Yeah, it's just like, you know, when you actually get into the weeds of things, like fleshing things out. The other thing that Horikoshi doesn't keep in track at, or doesn't keep in mind, I think, is that he gives a lot of detail. Like, honestly, he's very self-aware, and he gives a lot of detail to make sure that his logic is sound. When you're doing that, you do end up adding a lot of lines of dialogue to make sure that everything is understandable. So that is quite a significant amount of bloat that he maybe, again, doesn't keep track of. I do think, again, this is an issue of the 5 volumes does tell us how many plot points he's actually thinking of dealing with. And now that we know this, if we look back to what he said was going to come in the future, if this guy was at a point where he was thinking this was only going to be 5 volumes, then the comments from the art exhibition are a lot more concerning. Because, you know, we've been talking about this for a while, but was Ochako's moment the moment in front of UA? Was that going to be Ochako's moment? Well, if this guy was only planning 5 volumes, then most likely yes, because I don't think Ochako's going to get another moment during a 55 chapter run, most likely. So in that regard, it puts into better context the things that he brought up. Because if he has 55 chapters of material in his head, then everything he brought up had to have been stuff that he already thought was going to be going into those 55 chapters. Like, those were the highlights of those 55 chapters. Yeah. That's the scary thing, is that those are pretty much the big points that are worth looking forward to. Ah, Jason agrees. Yep. Hey, did you see also Sora for Smash and Kingdom Hearts on Switch via cloud? I can finally play a Kingdom Hearts that isn't on handheld. Yeah, Animamus, I saw that. So Digimon Ghost Game, I actually really enjoyed it. It was a lot more fun than the last little bit of adventure. So really enjoyed it. And Kingdom Hearts, yeah, man, when Sora showed up, it was like, nice! Great. I do kind of wish it was older Sora model, like Kingdom Hearts 2 model Sora, just because that Sora is around for longer. But whatever. Kingdom Hearts 1 Sora is iconic too. Oh, yeah, King of Nerds, you can post a hot take. Let's see. There were a few threads popping up that were complaining that Hody should spread out the story over 3 years instead of less than 1. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen, man. Like, we've talked about this a lot. And actually, this makes me feel really good just because it's like, if you look at it, all the story of Hero Academia really happens over the course of 1 year. Horikoshi was never good at this. We've talked about this being a significant weakness from the very beginning. When you have the characters doing what the third years are doing, that escalation, it just goes to show, again, Shonen Jump series do not do 3 years of high school very well. You really should be going to light novels and looking at their planning and pacing if you want to pull off all 3 years of high school. So this actually really feels, it makes me feel really vindicated just because it's like, yeah, no, this is a product of escalation and trying to make the kids feel special. He's not good at timeline management. I don't see My Hero Academia ending anytime soon. Maybe after it ends, Horikoshi goes a long break. I don't see Shonen Jump letting another money maker go. No, they might just do like an anime original sequel kind of thing. I think like it would still end between chapter 400 and 500. Right now, if we actually end before 400, that's going to be a big surprise. I'm really hoping when My Hero ends, we find out All for One is nothing compared to other villains across the world and we can see more countries. Well, that'd be interesting. What quirk would you have if you were in the world of Hero Academia? I would have a quirk that makes everything moist. That's just my go-to answer. Notice also that he said what does it even mean to be the greatest hero? The title may not be as straightforward as it initially appeared. A potential Izuku sacrifice? Well, actually, I'm really sad that he's even wondering what the greatest hero even is, because that tells me that he didn't plan that out. He didn't plan out the final resolution to what the greatest hero even means. What does that even say about the story? If he's thinking about this now, I think this is a pretty lame point to start thinking about it. I mean, you should have. In this case, I think you should have been like Oda, and have the One Piece planned out from the very beginning. I'm now curious about All Might training in America and who else he was with. Looking at Stars and Stripes looks more than a fangirl. Resemblance is scary. He did more than train, in my opinion. Okay, Ty. We'll see. We'll see if it actually goes down that direction. Like if All Might has a love child, that'll be wonderful in of itself. But we'll have to see. Hey Trip, what if the Silhouette Man in the reunion was Izuku's dad? Silhouette Man in the reunion? What reunion? Oh, wait. Do you mean that one guy that looked very shifty in one of those chapters? If that is it for Ochako's moment, then she isn't getting in the top 10 again, yeah. If Jesus died for our sins, then by not sinning, we're wasting his sacrifice. Wait, King of the Nerds, wasn't like the dying for our sins, wasn't that to clean the slate of all the sins up to that point where Jesus died? Right? I still kind of feel like you have to be accountable for everything after that. Yeah, light novels do a better job with school. Yeah, we know that. He also mentioned, yeah, Gohan knows because he reads light novels. He also mentioned Hawks when he says the light of hope for the readers. Yes, right. I forgot Hawks. That's the other guy. We have to be. Oh, you know what? Hawks is probably gonna find the critical clue. If Hawks is gonna be the light of hope, it's gonna be Hawks that finds the critical clue that lets us start the fight with Shigaraki. Well, they put in effort making Sora's ult as his other outfits, which I really appreciated. You can pick his Kingdom Hearts 2 outfit. I'll most likely pick his 3D outfit. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think I might alternate between 2 and 3, honestly. I would like to see a chapter or 2 on the connection between All Mights and Stars and Stripes. Kenneth, I don't know, man. I think 1 chapter, or maybe like a quick mention. Maybe it'll be like, you know, maybe it'll be a story told throughout many chapters, just fragmented. That might be the way they go about this. Like how the Night Eye story is told through many chapters. How did they get Disney's permission for Sora? It must have cost them an arm and a leg. Well, I think Square Enix owning a good portion of Sora was probably a good idea, but Disney's already collaborated with Nintendo before. Like they did Spectrobes exclusively on the DS back in the day, and they have like the Disney Magic Kingdom and all that kind of stuff on the Switch. I do think Disney and Nintendo are relatively friendly just because, again, Disney has had no problems publishing only on Nintendo before. And thinking about it, Disney and Nintendo have had exclusives between them many times before, so there's probably a working relationship there. Speed said, My Hero Academia is probably going to get the Naruto treatment. It's like Ash saying he's going to become Pokemon. Even the people inside the series don't know what that means. It was a made-up title by Ash. The greatest hero could mean a lot of things. Yep. Kind of random, but have you seen Meiru? Outside of the few fanservice moments, that passion is known for, it sets the horror moments pretty well. Oh, no, I haven't. I just thought it was a horror, so I wasn't watching it. Opinion on Shoujo X? I'm not really following it right now, Deathray. I don't really like the style. It'll take me a while before I get into it. So how did everyone like episode 1 of part 2 of Jobless? I enjoyed it. I thought it was quite alright. I do think they skipped a few things, but I think it was quite alright. Well, the poll for Smash Bros. 6 years ago, they had a lot of time to deal with Square Enix and Disney. That was not my interpretation of what he meant when he said, what does it mean to be a... I feel like he was trying to be cryptic. Oh, okay. No, sorry, just the one I read it there. That was my interpretation. Let me go back to White the Spurs quote for it. So the reason I interpreted it that way, Jason, was final act. I thought it would be about 5 volumes, but now I'm not sure anymore. What will happen to Deku? What does it mean to be the greatest hero? So in that regard, because of that first level of unsurety that I'm not sure anymore, when I saw the rest of the questions, I was like, oh, are you not sure? Like, because the length is in question, I thought that meant he was changing stuff up. So that's why I interpreted it. That's why I interpreted it the way I did. So apologies if I got the wrong interpretation. I probably did. Let's see. Speaking of Light Novels, got any good recommendations? 86 right now is really good. All for One isn't that strong compared to other leaders around the world. It's just that he might take their quirks, but then other than that, isn't very powerful. Well, if he has connections, I am very curious. I have a feeling most will pick Sora's Rivertown. Oh yeah, I saw a lot of discussions online throughout the past few days that were honestly mind-numbingly stupid. It all had to do with All for One and Shigaraki, and it was disappointing to see what people were arguing. Oh, funny. Let's see. And then Jason was just finishing up saying that he's surprised how much of the story Horikoshi already has fleshed out in his head. Okay. So yeah, I'll take your interpretation on this one, Jason. Square Enix is a Japanese company. Yes, I'm aware Square Enix is a Japanese company. Also follow Deathmage. Square Enix fans are eating well. They have 3 reps in Smash. Bayonetta attached Sora is ridiculous. They're friendly because they're both copyright struck everyone they can get their hands on. That's true. I'm not even sure Disney owns Sora. I think Square does. But notice there is no Goofy and Donald present in his final Smash. No, I'm aware of that. And I say, like, I don't know about the ownership of Sora. I'm sure that Disney has a stake in that character to some degree. But I do think Square Enix has more of the majority stake in Sora if we were talking like that. Because at the end of the day, if you look at it, like, Disney allows... If you look at Kingdom Hearts 3, Disney does not allow Mickey to lose. That's why Mickey never loses in Kingdom Hearts. That's why Mickey will be invincible in Kingdom Hearts. But Sora is allowed to lose, partly because of like the nature of that agreement and all that kind of stuff. Regardless, it's a nice thing that they at least let the Mickey symbol go through. Disney owns Sora too. Sora has appeared in Disneyland World, whatever, before. Oh, nice. Okay, so yeah, no, there's a co-ownership agreement going on. Let's see. You know Pluto walks on 4 legs, also about Red and Goofy. Different kinds of animals. I'm actually curious on the Mappa X Madhouse anime Tact OP Destiny. Oh, okay. For me, introducing the international hero opened up the world a lot more, and hearing about the manga ending seems like a waste of potential. Imagine All for One belonging to a worldwide Legion of Doom. Well, Ty, this is why I keep telling you. Don't believe. Like right now, Stars and Stripe, really, to me, it just seems like she's here to replace All Might. It just seems like she's here to add a little bit more weight to the All Might death and make Izuku maybe have someone to talk to. My guess is that Izuku will be the #1 in all the charts around the world. I should clarify, Trip, that quote's final act I thought about, but now I'm not sure anymore. Oh, okay, the second... Oh, I get it, okay. Thanks, White Disperse, thanks for the clarity. Oh, hey, Francisco. So for the second part of the anime of A6, how many volumes will it cover? The whole second volume only, or second and third volumes together? I think it should do 2 and 3 together, because 2 and 3 tell the story of how they get to the end of volume 1. So I really hope it's 2 and 3. With the mention of All for One having connections internationally, just like we see foreign heroes coming to help, could we see foreign villains coming to aid All for One? Tricky. I feel like the foreign villains are already helping All for One by causing chaos in their countries. Because the more the foreign villains cause chaos in their countries, the more All for One has free reign in Japan. I'm trying to figure out why they made Sora seem like some deity in that reveal. Yeah, they made him seem like, you know, just a guy having fun. It looks to me like Sakurai was very impacted by Sora's flying segments, and he just wanted to capture the majesty of floating. If you look at Kingdom Hearts, there's a lot of floating that occurs in Kingdom Hearts. People online were trying to argue that All for One had always been planning to take over Shigaraki, and that he is obviously the final boss. Their everything was pathetic, didn't hold up at all. Well, like, All for One might be the final boss, because Shigaraki needs to get saved. Hey, Trip, remember when we chatted about how great X-Arm is? There's an anime right now that's just as great called Tesla. No, he was the final reveal, and also he was the most requested new character, so it was dramatic. I didn't see dramatic in that, Jason. I saw it like more whimsical, right? I just saw it like Sora having fun. And mind you, like Sora, he's used to crossing into worlds, so he's 100% the kind of guy that would cross into a world and just start flying around having fun. Because that's just who he is. I was kind of sad how, like, when the fires of the Smash game died out, how everyone returned to being statues, that made me sad. Because it's like, no, you can still keep playing. You guys are prisoners forever. Like, no, you don't just get to fade away. Like, obviously not.
I didn't quite catch your request. I'll catch up. I'll catch up.
Where do I want to go? Let's see. Speak of fun, Nick All-Star Ball is crazy fun. Oh, really? Oh, that's... So it's actually like really well implemented. Taking the story to the international level is the ultimate escalation before you start leaving the planet. Yeah, I don't think we're going international. I think you have a better shot of a Vigilante spin-off type thing of international heroes. Like, come on. I don't think Horikoshi is actually capable of going that far, bringing in these heroes. I'm pretty sure that the only relevant hero for all of this is going to be Star and Stripe. I don't think anyone else is going to be relevant. Like, think about how amazing it is that the one international hero that's heading over, is someone ridiculously connected to All Might. Think about that, right? That in of itself is already extremely limiting for who exactly is coming. Neat. Most of the battles in Kingdom Hearts tend to be aerial for the fighters, so it makes sense how floaty. Yep, that's what Sakurai said as well. They tried to argue that Shigaraki's development was obviously a lie, and that Shigaraki was because he's only ever done what he was ordered to do. Well, you know, I don't make as sweeping points, but I do point out that Shigaraki's autonomy is severely impacted. I've mentioned this a few times in the past. Not enough to make him like a terrible villain, but there are some points where his autonomy is impacted. And we've talked about this before, where if the author comes out and really reduces Shigaraki to being a full-on victim who never had control, then he is going to severely assassinate Shigaraki's character. Like, I do think that is a legitimate concern that the author might try to do that. Mind you, it's Horikoshi, and he has been relatively good about having villains own up for what they've done. But it's just one of those things you gotta keep an eye out for. I don't think Shigaraki is terrible, but like when it comes to my personal rankings, that reason, the fact that All For One is ultimately controlling Shigaraki, or he's ultimately, you know, he's got that pull on Shigaraki, that is something that ultimately puts Shigaraki below All For One for me myself. Mind you, again, sweeping statements is different. Oh, fell down. I don't play anymore, but I'm happy for people who wanted him. Hey, Robert. Also, is there a worldwide chart? Even though All Might was mostly in Japan, he was still... I don't know. Mario technically touched the Keyblade with no problem. Mario is a Keyblade wielder. Yeah! Yeah! Oh, man, Keyblade Mario. I hope we get to see it. That'll be hilarious. Good observation, Animamus. I can't help being hopeful, Trip. Bet the other villains are just curious how the All For One situation is going to end. Wonder if All For One falls into chaos for someone new to take over. I'm not sure, because like if you think about it, Ty, we've already gone through that process where after All For One fell and All Might fell, everyone tried to like step up. And really, what did you end up seeing? Like Shizaki tried to step up, but then he got throttled hard by the heroes and by Shigaraki. And then with the Liberation Army, well, the Liberation Army was always a thing. They just stepped up because they got annoyed that Shigaraki was being more popular than him, or more popular than them. So when you look at it, like the villains in Hero Academia really aren't that competent when it comes to seizing power vacuums. Redestro really had the chance to be the most competent of all of them, but at the end of the day, Redestro stopped playing chess and instead went and fought in a beat 'em up, right? Like that's not a competent villain. That's a ego driven villain. Like you don't want to deal with those kind of villains. Well, at least Sakurai can rest now before developing Kirby and the Forbidden Land. Did you see or hear about the new Dragon Ball superhero poster that no, I didn't, Robert. Mario shaking hands with Sora is probably the funniest picture in any of this reveal for Smash. I thought it was cool. Another person I encountered was going on and on about how everyone believed that the reason All For One didn't take was because it was an idiot. They were arguing that since All For One saying that doesn't make sense, with All For One intended to take, so obviously All For One never said that, and anyone who tried to... No, but All For One did say that. Man, no, there's nuance here. All for One might have 5 different plans. Did you have any doubt in your mind that Mario could wield a Keyblade? I did. Digimon Ghost Game, though, for first episode was cool. My assumption with All for One has been hedging his bets with... Yeah, no, I agree with speed. That's probably the best thing. Let's see. Jason said there was some good news, though, where Hori said he wants to try his best to end the series in a way that makes all the people that stuck with it pleased and excited. Oh, that's good. What's funny, Trip, is that the name of the latest Rent-A-Girl is called The Girlfriend and Paradise. We're at part 20 and still no confession. Oh... I'm more see with Stars and Stripes gone, someone big in America start making their move. Yeah, I don't know, Ty. Like, that's still like, I mean, again, if it happens, you know, all the power to it, because that'll be cool, but I don't see it happening. I just don't trust it, man. I just don't trust it. I don't believe in Horikoshi that much. Ty, you are way too kind in this regard, man. Your heart's too big. You're gonna get heartbroken. Author focused way too much on Shigaraki. I don't know. I think he focuses way too much on Dabi. Or, no, Dabi's fun. At least Dabi's fun. Like, he's entertaining when he starts dancing. Yeah, maybe. Maybe too much on Shigaraki. But at the same time, you need to, like, kind of focus on your villains if you want to make them compelling. I mean, Gentle was really compelling with the little screen time he got, but I'm biased for Gentle, so maybe I don't have the best opinion on this one. There we go.
Wouldn't gliding be faster?
Oh, no, see White Despair? It's okay, man. The thing is, White Despair, I have had way too many debates with you to understand that this is a very nuanced situation, man. Like, nah, I'm perfectly okay believing that All for One had multiple contingency plans. Either that or he was just lying. Nah, people are stupid. Jason said, people are worried that Stars and Stripes is just going to be fodder for hyping 100% Shigaraki. Yeah, I can see why that's a concern. And yeah, it might be. But if Horikoshi went out and did that to a female character, like, he is insane. He is an insane man. Mind you, Stars and Stripes might go up against Shigaraki and take a lot of hits before Izuku shows up. But, I really, like, my first indication here is that Stars and Stripe is a All Might replacement, there to just make the All Might moment, you know, a little bit darker or a little bit more sad than it could be. I really feel Stars and Stripe is there to tell some stories about All Might in his younger days or something like that. You know, that's kind of what I'm seeing there. I think she's a 100% an exposition device that will get Izuku to stand back. That will get Izuku to stand back up again and then maybe go into the Vestige World and see All Might there or something. God, Venti, just stop. Okay.
Have you heard the ballad of the treasure chest?
How do I play in that ping? That's torture. Oh no, man! This has been my whole life. I just got used to it. I know what you're referring to, man. It's yeah. It's not a big deal. I can play usually at 300 ping as well. It's not too bad. I just kind of have to adjust my moves slightly to make it work.
Yahoo!
Oh, nice random. Yeah, no, I just kind of stuck with the one I got from the event and haven't really done much else. Just going for my fishing to get more refined materials and all that kind of stuff. 2021, people are stupid. Yes, thanks, Terry, thanks. Oh wait, Terry, you're here. Let's see. Oh yeah, isn't Gentle Labrava supposed to come back? I think they're coming back because the author has to show them being helpful. Labrava will probably come back with an epic Uber hack, and then Gentle will probably do something fun like save Izuku at the last moment. be a hero. I even saved one of the posts where they were arguing that All For One was obviously referring to himself. You have to bear with it since it didn't exactly double check their English. Do you seriously believe that he was talking about Tamora, not him? He literally steal Tamora's body right after he got All For One and don't even let him use the power that much. Well, he wouldn't just let the quirk because Tamora can't use it, when in reality Tamora shouldn't use All For One in the first place. Okay, yeah. That's a lot. I mean, what can you really say, right? All For One is confusing, and if White Despair and I end up having a lot of debates about it, like, imagine what it does for the smooth brains in the crowd. Or, you know, the kids. Let's see. I see what you mean, Trip. A little too hopeful. Also, I see Stars and Stripes quirk being able to control her own body gravity or have own gravitational field, increase her weight and decrease it. Oh, that'd be good. Well, he wouldn't just let the quirk... Okay, got that. Let's see. Use like flight, like moving it, increasing the strength of her attacks. Okay, okay. Also, that mission to get 100 fishes goes up. Right now, I have to fish 2,000 fish to complete the mission. Oh, okay. What if Gentle the Brava are brought back, do the thing, and then get dusted? I mean, possible, but I think that's a little bit too dark, and I don't think Horikoshi's going to go for it. But, of course, I might just be coping. The 2021 Robin series? No, Skelly, I don't think you have asked me or about this series. You mean Robin from DC? Like that Robin? Shonen tournament manga in comic form. Okay. No matter what other people said, they refused to acknowledge that All For One did in fact say that Best Unit's quirk wouldn't suit Tamora. They just went on and on about how he obviously never said that. Did people show him pictures? Deku will be strong and fast, that he'll be able to patrol the world and not just Japan, but him protecting the world will be why Deku won't be an instant win in the next series. Okay, Skelly. Yeah, I didn't know about that. I'll check it out. Yeah, I feel like if Izuku's protecting the entire world, that's going to be bad. Because the day that Izuku falls, imagine how complacent Japan got. Imagine a complacent world when Izuku falls. God, that's going to be terrible. That's like the one thing you don't want to happen, man. Holy. Izuku should just stay his lane and just have a regular work-life balance. God, that's going to be terrible.
Ooh, wonderful.
I think All Might, if All Might really doesn't like her, I think he'll be polite. Damian Wayne joined the martial arts deathmatch tournament. Oh, that makes so much sense. Okay, yeah, man, I'll check that out. That sounds hilarious. That's a lot of edge. Where's Batman? Is he not keeping an eye on this kid? I hope Horikoshi doesn't make Mineta Momo canon only to dust one or both of them. Ah, well, I can tell you, he's not going to do that. Rudy is about to be OP by the end of the season. No, Rudy's still relatively weak by the end of the season. Heck, this might be a season that shows how weak Rudy is. Actually, yeah, no. Gohan would agree with me. This is 100% going to be a season where, like, Rudy is shown to be at his weakest. Like, you're going to feel bad for Rudy in all the different ways. In ways you didn't even think were possible. Let's see. Oh yeah, they showed them the pictures, but that evidence doesn't make sense with All For One's plan to take over Tamora, so it obviously didn't happen. Okay, well at that point, if they're saying that something that happened in the manga didn't happen, then they are admitting that the manga is badly written. So that's okay too. That's okay too. I'm quite okay with that one.
A little dusty. Best give it a spring cleaning.
Let's see. Let's see. Batman signed Damien up for the tourney. He hates that little brat. Oh, okay. I see Horikoshi. Wait. Batman's pretty preoccupied at the moment. There was a nice moment of the other Robins trying to get Damien back. Okay. I see Horikoshi likes abusing his female waifu hero. Imagine if she's just a measuring stick for 100% Shigaraki. Yeah, no, that's gonna be gross. Like, man, I have a lot of things to say about Ochako, but God, don't do that to Star and Stripe. Don't bring a girl in just to destroy her. That's dumb. That's not fair. There's no fun in that. I mean, I like that the girls in Hero Academia, they get to have really cool fights, and they get to like really get beat up in the process. Like, it really makes them feel like, yeah, this, like, Mirko is 100% respect, right? Like, it's really impressive. But there's a limit, man. There's a limit to how rude you can be to a character. Like, come on, don't do that. Oh, Horikoshi. I wonder where that last one is. Yeah, I'll probably go check it out. See if I find any. But first, we shall go to Dragon Spine. Hody is bringing in a woman, not a girl, Trip, so it's fine. Oh, did I say girl? Yeah, I refer to guys as guys and girls as girls. Let's see. Or, sorry, women as girls. It's so ingrained in me. Oh, Komi-san, banished from Hero Party, Fine Assassin, Love Love is Tomorrow. Yeah. I did, I watched the new Sunrise Mecha, and then I watched that other isekai, Fruit of Evolution. Yeah. Damien reads manga in that comic. Oh, nice, nice, nice. Let's see. Death Ray said, I thought Rudy was going to be overpowered because of his foresight. No. So this is bad on the anime, but the anime didn't show how easily to abuse foresight, or how... Like, Ruijerd does not take that much to actually get past foresight, but the anime doesn't show how he does it. So that's probably why you were left with that opinion. Because when you see the way that Ruijerd does it, it's like, oh, okay. So pretty much anyone that knows what they're doing will be able to overcome Rudy. Like, Rudy's best shot is really against monsters and novices like Eris, with the way that foresight works. No, I don't want a load of anything. Leave me alone.
I must leave no stone unturned.
Nothing around here.
Yahoo!
Ah, there you are. Hide and seek, hide and seek, hide and seek. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just checking the comments with that certain dude. Yep, Damien always does his own thing. The kids almost joined the talents. Okay. Deku won't have to be everywhere, but the fear that he can be will prevent crime around the world. That'll be good. Anyone who says otherwise is an insert slur. Okay, the Damien comic is basically Mortal Kombat and I'm loving it. Okay. Damien's mom wanted Damien in a tournament. Okay. Let's see. Hody's bringing in a woman, not a girl. Okay, got that. I think I know the ending. Hear me out. Alright. Well, Midnight was a woman, and we see where that went. Yes. I tend to not like comments about other guests to me, but I must admit, seeing tons of people making similar claims throughout the last week was starting to get absurd. Hey, Kayla. Yeah. Fruit of Evolution felt like they skipped some stuff. Episode 1. Oh, I wouldn't know. Trip, Stars and Stripes has a cape. That's a plus in my book. Yeah. Hody is on an adult woman hero killer streak. Dragon Lady, Mirko, Nagant, Midnight, and Mount Lady. Mineta Momo becomes canon, then Momo gets gone, and in his grief, Mineta takes one for all and renames it Ball for All, and ends the entire LOV in one epic beatdown. Oh, Terry, I can only really hope that you get to see some version of this in the future. I'm not sure if anyone asked, but what do you think of the hero's current situation? Do you follow Dan? No, I don't, Death Ray. But yeah, for the current situation, well, Kayla, we were talking about a lot of different things before you showed up, unfortunately. So you kind of missed the conversation, but... ultimately, for me, I think that Hawks is going to find a critical clue that lets the heroes start their counterattack against Shigaraki. And I believe that... What was I going to say? Yeah, I believe that it's just going to be a time. Like... The heroes are fine. There's just going to be a battle at UA and then the series ends.
What a bountiful harvest!
Like, there's probably going to be some sequence where All For One gets found by the heroes and then Shigaraki dusts him. The heroes retreat to go back to UA. And then that's where we have the final UA fight or something like that. That's what I'm kind of thinking is going to happen now. I do kind of wonder what the heroes think they're going to find wherever they're going, though. You know, likely... It's likely Horikoshi didn't tell us the rest of that, what's on that message, because maybe the rest of that message has more clues on it. Let's see. Who is dead in My Hero Academia? Oh, Midnight Gohan. Let's see. Dan is so hype. Oh, Sarge likes it. In all honesty, I wouldn't mind if Stars and Strike gets bodied, not killed. Just bodied, but still managed to put up a fight like Colossus Juggernaut, but more even. Yeah, no, I have no problem she gets bodied. As long as it's a good fight. Like, remember how much effort Endeavor put into fighting Shigaraki? Like, when you look at what Endeavor did, like, Endeavor got many kills on Shigaraki. If it wasn't for Shigaraki's regeneration factor, Shigaraki would have been dead. So if the author can show her get a lot of kills on Shigaraki and then only get thwarted by the regeneration factor, I think that would be quite fair. Because, like, the regen is really what breaks Shigaraki.
Let's play.
Let's see. Boy Despair said that he was very interested when the official translations came out and said make him complete in 38 days. I was very interested in that as well, White Despair. Had quite a little bit talking about it because I thought that was really interesting too. Oh god, this whole place is just death. I hate everything here. Let's see. I feel like the heroes are in a bad situation. 3 days is crazy. There goes the Jiro idea. Oh, yeah. Speaking of Jiro. Like, if this thing is going down in 3 days and Jiro's planning on doing a concert in 3 days, that's going to be horrible. That's going to be horrible optics. I guess after a surprise attack from the heroes in the war, I wanted the villain to strike first this time, but it seems we're going to have another preemptive strike. Yeah. But honestly, if you're the heroes, I kind of do want you to be preemptive on it. I don't want you to be caught unaware. And again, like, All For One is such an opportunist that he does prefer to wait. So this makes sense to me. Oh, no worries, Robert. Yeah, the 38 days is very interesting. I have to assume that it's based on Shigaraki's original timeline or something like that. That's the only thing I can come up with for why those days in particular. I would love it if that happens and SNS drops a stupid loser is like Cell or Boo. At least now we know who to blame if the villains win. In that case, it would all be Stain's fault. Just imagine if he decided to give the intel to All Might back when Izuku left him. Oh, that would have been so many... Oh yeah, we would have had a few more days. Let's see, it probably has to do with the international chaos. In that case, the heroes wouldn't have this 3 days left problem. This is all Stain's fault. He doomed society. They mentioned All For One has influence overseas. You think his plan involves him also getting international support, like other villains coming to help him? Why does he need Shigi to be ready in 38 days, all these specific? No, yeah, I don't think the heroes are going to get the drop on the villains this time. Well, you know, there's still the possibility that this whole thing with Shigaraki might also be another bluff within a bluff. That would be my first kind of guess. But yeah. Ultimately with Shigaraki there. Wait, let me see here. Wait, did she? Anyway, if international villains come in, that'll be very surprising, but it's like, why bring in international villains when you were barely fleshing out the villains you already have here? I feel like bringing in international villains would be a waste, but if they do show up, they'll probably just be background fodder, probably. It's just, it seems like such a waste to bring in international villains when you don't even have the Liberation Army fleshed out. It's just kind of a waste of time, unless you need to give everyone that matters a big villain to fight, but even then you have the Tartarus villains. Oh yeah, Moonfish. Moonfish is getting something too, right? Isn't he? Let's see. Ty said, did you see the prisoner Stankill had on his uniform? It read D69. Oh, no, I didn't see that. Do you think we'll be seeing Izuku's father? I heard someone interview Horikoshi. He said that we will be seeing him soon. But if we were to see him, what occupation do you think Izuku's father is in? I know people predicting it's all for one, but I hope it's not. Yeah, I hope it's not either. I don't know. I just think he might be a businessman. That's all I'm really thinking. God, if he's actually all for one, I'm going to be very sad. Let's see. What if US goes back to its roots and uses their ultimate hero, A-Bomb-san? Nah, that's going to be an international incident. The US is perfectly fine letting warlords control countries, so they're going to be fine with this. If Shigaraki wakes up, the first thing he'll do is probably kill All for One. Probably. I think so too. But I think that's all for One probably wants. International heroes greater than international villains. I hope what new Moonfish got his new teeth. I think the one that says the 38 days thing might be the All for One vestige, since probably being a he would know how much time he needed. I think like the All for One vestige knows how much time is needed only because the All for One vestige was able to keep track of what was going on with Shigaraki while he was in the tube. Moonfish is a baby. Class 1A could easily take him. Yeah, I mean like Class 1A can easily take a lot of villains. But actually, I don't think I don't think Toru could take him. I don't think Kirishima. Kirishima could take him. Kirishima could definitely take him. But I don't think Toru and Anima could take him. I commented more about it on your chapter review if you'd like to check it out. It's just a small theory. Okay, AN63. Thank you for letting me know about the comment. I will check it out after the stream or tomorrow. And then I'll be able to talk to you about it tomorrow. I just remember a question we forgot about a while back. If you were isekai'd with the same condition as Rudy and born into a family of hunters, what are your short, long-term goals in the Mushoku Tensei world? And I don't know about the mana disaster, right? Okay, so I get isekai'd. And I get isekai'd with all my knowledge of isekais. Yeah, I would start learning magic early. I would probably do the same thing that Rudy did. But I would be a lot more open to physical combat. Like, I'd want to get strong. I'd probably read up on all the people who are strong in the world. And I'd probably try and see if I could figure out all the different magics. And then, you know, I would build myself up until I can take over a small country. And then I can just rule a country for a while. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, no, I'd probably want to... My short-term goals are building up my strength. And then really trying to get to, like, the highest points of power that I can. Oh, and then booby trap my home. Oh, I would 100% booby trap my home. We don't know for sure if Moonfish is getting something. Hody was given a similar amount of focus as the other villains of Tartarus, but there's no guarantee that he'll get more like they did. Yeah, like Muscular got a small segment. You know what? Moonfish probably shows up again during Battle of UA. I can actually see nuclear weapons being used by the international heroes. Yeah, no, I don't think they're going to do that. The world is way too scarred by atomic weapons to do that. There's too many innocent people involved as well. I always like to think Izuku's dad is Jack Midoriya and works at Nintendo at upper middle management. Oh, that'd be good. Didn't mean solo, that's why I said class A. Oh, okay, sorry. Misunderstood, sorry. Moonfish is still dangerous solo for most hero students. Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, like, if you have 20 superpowered people coming down on one guy, you have to be a Nomu to be able to survive that. But yeah, fair enough, Jason. I wouldn't want Paul as a father, though. Nah, Paul's actually pretty alright in the grand scheme of things. Like, I honestly, knowing how many terrible people there are in the world, I'm actually fully okay with Paul being my father if it comes down to it. Like, at this point, I'm not gonna... As long as the dad... If I have a father in the other world, as long as he's... like 60% okay and his shittiness is mostly in his womanizing ways, I honestly wouldn't really care, because like, look, man, power doesn't discriminate. Power doesn't care about your morals. If you're a strong guy, you're a strong guy. I'm gonna learn from you. And I'm like, if I'm coming in there with the maturity that I have now, I'm perfectly okay just dealing with it. It's not that big of a deal to deal with a toxic family member or something like that. Yeah, like, I'd rather have someone tough like Paul as opposed to someone kind of cushy. Just because cushy might mean weak. Like, yeah, maybe they might have more money and be able to get me, like, better tutors. But for the purposes of it, if I'm in the countryside, I want someone like Paul. Now, if he's an abusive drunk, that's a different thing, because I might die before I get out of there. And I might have to kill him, because that's usually how those kind of things go when you have an abusive drunk in a fantasy setting. So ideally not that. They don't need to be the whole... Let's see. If All for One's plan ends up hinging on Shigaraki...
Wouldn't gliding be faster?
Let's see. Let's go down here.
Thank Barbados. Wait a minute.
Anyway, if All for One's plan hinges on Shigaraki wearing that hand, when that official be the biggest force plot point in all of here, it would go far it would far surpass Izuku meeting Gentle. Yes. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Do you think we'll see villain or two from the movies? Looking at chapter 316, the silhouette on the left side looks like Chimera from the movie 2. If so, that would be a hard villain to face off with. If we do see him, he's gonna be in the background, and I don't think he's gonna be all that important. Anima can take Moonfish and maybe even Muscular if he fought them at the zoo. I don't think you can take Muscular. I think Muscular is too much for most animals. Not I'd rather be fatherless in that world. Nah, Gohan, I think you're a little bit too soft on this one, man. I think you're too soft. Mind you, I understand why you're saying it, but I think you're too soft on this one. I'd take Paul without a problem on that one. Like, in the grand scheme of, like, shitty parrots, Paul's not that bad. I don't think Hody would touch nukes after the controversy with the doctor. Good point. I ranked Jobless Harem 1 out of 5 stars. Okay, John. Good, good, good. Just like when Denji packed his drunk father up, Paul would be a fine dad. Paul got all kind of disease, probably. He's basically Caribbean, just a little rapey. Oh, God. God, DeAndre, man. Like, oh, also, hey, man. Yeah, pretty much, right? He's pretty Caribbean aside from all the sleeping around. Actually, I don't know, man. Like, people sleep around a lot in the Caribbean anyway. It's too hot. People are always sleeping around. Yeah. Don't really have a problem with Paul, all things considered. Now, mind you, if I have a mom, I definitely wouldn't like to see anyone make my mom cry, because that's going to really hurt me. So that's probably be the biggest point of friction. But like, you know, the thing with Paul too is that he came from a culture that was okay with harems, and then Rudy's mom was super religious. And after he put a baby in her, he took responsibility for that. But you can't really change a guy. He ultimately, his behavior happened because of him taking responsibility. He didn't change his behavior because he learned a lesson about why harems shouldn't be a thing.
Have you heard the ballad?
Like, I understand why Paul ends up the way he does. The sheer fact that Han managed to survive Shigaraki decaying in Deka City was very stated to be a miracle. If All for One ends up saying that it was part of his plan, I'm calling BS. Oh yeah, me too. Gohan, if you were an orphan in that world like that, you'd die. End up a slave or homeless. Yeah, probably slave. Well, with Paul, there's another thing that happens that pissed me off, which the anime hasn't got into yet. Are you talking about the stuff that happens when Rudy and him meet up when he's drunk? Is that the thing that bothers you?
Ooh, wonderful. Leave it all to me.
Oh yeah, Tiandre says it. You mean the reunion? Yeah. Let's see. Ah, good. It is the reunion. Yeah, no, the reunion. Like, I mean, the reunion is supposed to be a terrible moment, man. But like, at the same time, this guy has been protecting his daughter forever, and he doesn't know if his family's okay. Like, give the guy a break. He wasn't a perfect human from the beginning. And his behavior is, like, at the end of the day, he gets called out for it. Like, yeah, really, really unfair, but disasters tend to bring out the worst in people, especially when you're trying to deal with your depression with booze. Mind you, again, doesn't excuse the stuff he did, but I can understand why he ultimately did it. If it happened to me, given the extreme circumstances, I think I would eventually forgive him. But it'd be one of those things that's like, you know, it's got, if it happened in the real world, it's like one of those things where it's like, guy, you gotta change your patterns, man. You gotta get better. You gotta sober up here. Like, otherwise, I don't want to be anywhere near you, kind of thing, right? It'd be that kind of response. Like, it'd be like, you know, I can forgive it, but I won't necessarily forget. It. Like, I'll always remember how you reacted in this particular moment.
I must leave no stone unturned. Boba, get them. Race you.
Let's see.
Shine down! Now you shall perish!
Let's see. Even though my hero will be ending in the future, I can see Muscular want to fight Izuku again if he has to break out of prison. Also, I'm wondering what the other All For One assassins are doing, chilling. Probably. He wouldn't have agreed to marry Rudy's mother then if he couldn't be faithful. Yeah, Gohan, man. I'm sorry to tell you, but some stories do not have to stick to idealism. Like, some stories can show the weakness of the human character. Like, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. And mind you, you can dislike it, but it's part of the, like, again, I can understand why you have a significant issue with it. But to some degree, you have to be a little bit lenient on people's weaknesses here. Again, you can forgive it, but you don't necessarily have to forget it. Heck, you don't have to forgive it either. But I think you're really fixating on all the negatives, and you're not looking at all the positives that Paul does do. At the end of the day, like, the negatives, we see them in a few select moments, but otherwise, this guy was able to protect his family for a significant portion while he was the knight for that particular town. Like, there are positives coming into Paul here, as, like, along with the negatives, much like it is with most people in real life. Again, I can understand why you have these particular issues with Paul, and I can't tell you, like, don't have the issues with it, because it speaks more about your character than anything else. Yeah, and yeah, Gohan, I do know that, but like, where you see it as a terrible thing, I see it as a great thing in terms of the writing, because it's much more likely that people don't really change themselves until they make a mistake multiple times, because usually what happens when people are making mistakes is that they encounter a mistake of a higher order, and because they don't particularly know how to deal with the higher situation, they fall flat to it, even though it's still the base problem that they always had. So from a writing perspective, it actually makes sense that Paul would have that problem. And mind you, again, like, I think it's totally okay to be disapproving of it, but this seems to me a pretty consistent character. And in this case also, like, you know, we throw in the other factors, significant stress from being with your daughter, trying to protect her, trying to look for your family, you're in a bad place, you're in a dark place, you're drunk. Like, Gohan, you kind of sound like the person that wouldn't allow people a moment of weakness when they're in a really dark place, or you wouldn't allow them that moment of an outburst. And mind you, it's again one of those situations where you can disapprove of how someone reacts in their darkest moment, because like, it's the darkest moments that define people. And when you look at Paul, if you're talking about the darkest moments, his darkest moments are most certainly not defining him very well, because like you said, he falls back to his same old problems. But I don't know, like, I'm thinking about it from the perspective of real life. To some degree, there's some give and take when it comes to being forgiving of people in their darkest moments. I get, man, mind you, like, even I have a limit. In real life, when people, like, people's darkest moments are enough for me to make me want to never talk to them again. Just because, like, I don't think they're going to change. So we come back into we come back into all of this. What bothers me is someone repeating the same mistake over and over again. You know, I don't think Paul repeated the same mistake over and over again. I saw him repeat it once. He did it once before. He didn't do it for many years, and he did it again during a crisis moment. That's not that big of a deal to me. Mind you, after that, I would still tell Paul to not drink so much. That's probably the best thing to take away from it. I think I missed a few other people's comments here, so let me just make sure I go through the other people's comments. Let's see. Shigaraki's hands keep getting remade. Tywin Lannister, his family, he's got tactic, genie, ruthless. I mean, all this is bad, I guess. It definitely isn't disqualifying in terms of dad I want in a fantasy world. Muscular should fight someone else. Super sugared up Saito, Kirishima, Tetsu, or even Animal Man from 1B. Remember we actually I got that one. Let's see. One thing I found interesting, Assistant, is that it's All Might who says that in 3 days, Shigaraki would be completed as a vessel. It just continues the trend of us readers finding out about All for One and his plans for the heroes figuring it out. Yes. I already got all the chests for the event in Dragonspan, but it was really annoying running up and down the mountain looking for his chests since they don't appear on the map. Oh, okay. Your father is a sweet-tempered drunkard who's somehow a good family man, but so Hunter, your mom is the competent hunter who teaches you everything about hunting and is also very strict. Also, she tried to kill your dad once. Okay. Okay, so my dad's a sweet-tempered drunkard and a good family man. Why did my mom try to kill my dad once? Let's see. I don't near Paul. I don't get disease from Paul got. In the story with the MC having... It was mentioned that the MC was very close to killing his parents due to how they were and what they did to him. Oh, what did they do to him, Gohan? Do. I need to fix up some of the artifacts. So let's see. Let's pick out someone that I'm using and just pump some artifacts into them. Probably Bennett. And John says he will burn everything Paul touches. Well, fair enough. He probably has crabs. Actually, no. Like he... Oh no, he was sleeping around at during the separation period, right? Like he was indulging in women to get over his problems, right? I believe he was. Oh wait, no, was this a plot point? Was it a plot point that he wasn't sleeping around? Does anyone remember? Was Paul sleeping around at that point in the story when they have the separation? I refreshed my tweet. My first tweet is call me stupid, but I think... What? BKDK kiss is possible. Oh, Baku Deku. Okay. The parents of the MC were abusive mentally and they ran away and escaped punishment. The MC ended up living with his aunt and uncle till he was isekai to that world. Oh, okay. Gotcha. That sucks. I have a problem with people doing stuff in the darkest moments because I'm petty and will hold it against them forever. Well, I understand that. Oh man, guys, I forgot. Let me tell you, because we're talking about people doing darkest things, darkest moments. I found this really edgy webtoon because it came up on Webtoon the other day. It was something like the hero return. What was it? The hero returns, or the spear hero returns. Anyway, it's just like pretty much a teenager. He comes back to Korea after a year of saving the world in an isekai, and he comes back and, like, you know, his parents are dead. His mom died in a car accident. His dad committed suicide, and then he just has a really bad day. His middle school friends abandon him. He's not going to school. His family abandons him because they blame him for doing all the terrible, or like they blame him for all the terrible stuff that happened to his family. It's just pretty much, you know, like it's what those stories always do to make you think like, oh man, this guy has a terrible day, and then in response, because he's having such a terrible time, he goes out and he wipes out like an entire district out of Korea, and his ultimate rhetoric is he wants to make the world as sad as he is. And I'm just thinking like, man, really? This is why you don't give impressionable teenagers power. One, because they're easily manipulatable, and two, because they're super edgy, or they're prone to being super edgy, and three, because they can't control their emotions and they're going to do stupid stuff when the world gets tough, and four, they don't know how to properly monetize their abilities to be able to get money from without actually having to ruin everyone's lives. Like, it's just such a, that webtoon was just edge. And then I went and I read the subs, because some people, or actually the translation, sorry, the translations that were ahead of it. And people were just complaining about it all the time because it gets even more edgy after that. And it just goes to show that it's going to be a few interesting weeks on Webtoons as people get upset about this series that started. Everyone's so happy about it. Everyone's 100% trying to justify this murderer just having a bad day. And that justifies him wiping out entire radius of innocent people. Yeah, no, it's going to be hilarious. I don't know if anyone follows Webtoon stuff, but just wanted to let you guys know about that because I just thought it was pretty terrible. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure edgy teenagers will like it. And if you're the kind of person that likes things because they're so bad it's good, I think you'll like it too. There are some like really good moments later on, but those good moments are really revolving around the character that's manipulating everything, leading credence to my idea that you really shouldn't give powers to manipulatable teenagers because someone will manipulate them. Let's see. It's why the MC falls for the elf in that story because she reminds him of the very kind aunt. Oh, that's nice. It depends on what line they cross in dark moments. Agreed, Speed. Agreed. Like I said myself, I have my lines that in your dark moment I think are going to be super. I think they're going to be super. It's going to be it's a defined line, and like some people, I'm pretty sure are never going to change. So I don't even bother spending time with them after that point. Like some people are just inherently toxic, such that sticking with them is just going to be a leech on your funds and your energy, and who wants that, right? Like, if it comes down to it, if my dad has like a significant personality issue that only shows up like once every 4 years, honestly, I think I'll risk that one. I'll risk that one. I don't think I'll have any big issue with that. And as long as whoever I'm talking to is willing to listen to reason and actually does make an effort at listening to reason, I think I'll be pretty okay with that as well. Ultimately, if I feel relatively confident that person is capable of actually changing or actually recovering after their darkest moment, I have no problem continuing fraternizing with that person. But it ultimately comes down to whether or not the reflection that comes after the darkness is actually worthwhile and will actually stick. Let's see. Your dad drunkenly flirted with another woman who he thought was his wife and was about to seal the deal. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I don't know, man. If my mom tried to kill my dad for a drunken accident, I don't know what that says about her. I don't think I'm into that. That's kind of cray-cray. I mean, you can divorce him, like leave him out on the court. Like if you're gonna kill him, then you're probably okay with divorcing him and putting him out of the house. But yeah, I don't know. That one's rough, man. That one's pretty rough. So the guy says he saved the world from the Demon King and then becomes the Demon King of his own world when he returns. Yeah, pretty much. And then it gets worse because like a whole bunch of other edgelords show up and they all have like particular issues with the world. Again, you learn that teenagers really aren't the smartest kids in the bunch because they can't figure out how to really, make use of their power to make money. But yeah, a bunch of other kids like show up and team up with him, and now it's just like, okay, a bunch of kids. And the thing that got me the most is that these people were supposed to be heroes, and for me, like a hero is someone who sticks to the right thing to do, even when things are at their darkest. Like that's what a real hero to me feels like. Someone who does the right thing even when it's really hard to do the right thing. So when I saw that, like it just kind of broke the premise of like these people aren't heroes, even though this one kid survived many of his friends in the other world dying to the Demon King that he went there to kill. He still breaks like this, and it's just I don't think he was really a worthwhile hero. Like, screw the worlds that took these weak-ass kids to go and deal with their problems. They're all pretty weak and pathetic. And none of these kids even reflects a moment about the things that they learned in the other world. Which is just strange. It's really strange because usually that kind of stuff is something that, you know, other world journeys tend to be coming of age stories as well. So it's unfortunate they didn't really mature on the other ones. But it's not really a great webtoon is the big thing to take away from this. Like, it's good for people who are really forgiving of characters and who want just to see some edginess. Heck, there was one commenter that was just saying like, no, come on, man, we just want to see the world burn. And it's like, wow. Yeah, way to out yourself as the edgiest edgelord in the comment section. The world's already burning. Shit sucks. Let's see, the webtoon got the stupid moment. It tried to focus on hero character. Yeah. I can't wait to see the rest of it hit the official site because I want to see how people are going to turn on it immediately. I'm talking about a webtoon. I could go check out the webtoon right now and just get you guys the name. Give me a quick second. I'll quickly look at it. I can't see the comments, so just give me a quick second. It's just, man, it's just so edge. That's all I can really say about it. It's just edge. And you know the thing is too, like the author couldn't really write the character that the series starts off with. Understandably so, because that character is insane. But I just find it so funny how everything turns. Now let me see, where is it? Ah, The Warrior Returns. There we go. If you go on Webtoons, the title is The Warrior Returns. Oh, they have the second episode up too. Yeah. That's for anyone that's interested in it. Let's see. Let's say this world your mom was also drunk and was holding back. Oh, okay. Yeah, alright, Mark. Yeah, that makes it a little bit better. Yeah, the MC that likes the elf, but she also likes him back. Her backstory is interesting. So is the first head of the family still alive in the story? And Tayo trying to kill her? Yeah, the first Yozakura lady is still alive. She still exists in some form, and Tayo is trying to mercy kill her. That's the most important thing, right? Because she's experiencing degradation. So he's trying to do a mercy kill. I wonder if Stain knows about Stars and Stripes and what his view on her is. Given that Stain said that All Might's the only person he accepts and approves of, I don't know. Stain might not be the best reader in the world, in all honesty. I can't say I trust him.
I'll be there.
Yeah, go for it, White Despair.
Ooh, wonderful.
Yeah, Animamus, they do show stuff. When he was in the other world, he was actually not that edge. Even when, I think he suffered a few of his friends dying in the other world, like his party members. But even then, he was able to save the world, and he was a relatively happy kid. Like, everything just falls apart for him when he comes back. And, yeah. It just ends up in a situation where he's being manipulated by another one of the heroes who's just kind of screwing with him. My mom told me I went to school to learn, and I said no. I go to school not to disappoint my parents. I haven't learned anything important in school in years. Well, Deathray, I'm sad to hear that. I do hope you learn mathematics at least, just because math is a powerful tool, and if you learn mathematics, you can handle so many different. If you learn the mathematical formulas and techniques, you can handle many different degrees without any big problem if you become math literate. What is this? Let's see. It never made sense why initial character formed that Demon King alliance. Oh, Speed. You're reading it too? Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like it's just like super edgy, right? That's every time I see something I don't understand, I just tell myself, it's just the edge. Which, you know, maybe not the best thing to say, but it is just the edge. Oh, bye, Skelly. Have a good day, man. Nah, man, math is super useful. Like, you know, like the practical applications for math are super useful. Let's see. What are the most useful applications for math that I have? Geometry for pool is pretty good. Geometry itself is like magic. Like, I don't care what you tell me, but geometry is 100% magic. The fact that you can get certain angles from just looking at a configuration of lines drawn in a circle, that's crazy to me. So yeah, geometry is pretty cool. Well, pretty much fractions. Anything that had to do with circuit theory is pretty useful. Oh, you know what's a really good mathematical tool? Matrices. Matrices are amazing. Like, holy, matrices can simplify so many things. That's one of the few textbooks I actually kept after I left college. Just matrices. Or matrices, sorry. Matrices and linear algebra. Really effective, really good for shorthand math. One news I noticed that caught my eye was that All For One only ever refers to his taking over of Temura as temporary. He repeatedly asked Temura to lend him his body. Even as he literally takes it, he still uses the word lend. Yeah, no, White Despair to me, that sounds like that's just All For One's like devil talk. Like All For One to me always speaks in really kind terms, but then he's doing really terrible things. So I always just take it as him just being a dick. And just speaking in niceties. That's how I interpret it. Learn science like Senku. The music playing for this webtoon is so sad and depressing. It has music playing? It's still playing as I read. Oh, wow, okay. I figured people could argue that, oh, All For One is obviously lying and wants it to be forever, but then I noticed a little bit All For One does in fact temporarily take over Shigaraki multiple times. That's true, but like, for me, I still think he's gonna take over permanently. If Shigaraki... Well, I feel it's going to be an issue if Shigaraki's not doing what he wants. He'll take over, right? Which is pretty much just living your life under All For One's rule regardless. But good point. Good point, White Despair. Did you enjoy Proofs, Trip? Did I enjoy Proofs? No. Proofs I found to be a little bit too tedious. I don't really enjoy Proofs all that much. Like, I like understanding why a formula works, because that was a serious issue I had in a lot of my physics classes. Like for me, I didn't really understand formulas until I came back to them years later and looked at them. So otherwise, I was just doing things just out of trying to guess at what number went and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, going back to the formulas and proofs, I don't really care about proofs. I just like knowing why something works, and I like figuring out my logic for why a particular formula works over another.
Here we go.
Like, I understand why matrices work. It's because matrices are a unique way of arranging data that allows you to strip away the math logic and apply a different set of math logic to get the answers from the matrices. And like the matrices, ultimately, like the operations you can do on a matrix are derived on the mathematical relationships between addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So that all makes sense to me. I'm trying to think, are there any other things? I don't like calculus. For calculus, I remember all, like, a good chunk of my derivatives. I probably know like my product rule and my chain rule and all that kind of stuff. But for calculus, I don't really like calculus because I had to go into derivatives, and then I had to do like triple integrals and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's unfortunate, but electricity actually requires a lot of triple integrals and derivatives and differential equations, because electricity sometimes works on 3D surfaces, and for that you usually need to go into a triple integral. So I definitely don't like calculus, and it's unfortunate. Like, my field of study was going to be heavily focused on electromagnetism, but the math for electromagnetism is a little bit too hard. And for regular circuit design, you don't really need triple integrals. But for electromagnetism calculations, you kind of do need triple integrals if you're doing like unique devices, which is unfortunate. But yeah, never a fan of, never, like, electricity required too many complex equations to be able to make it work. And when I say electricity, I mean electrical phenomena and magnetism. Let's see. Anyone in chat can follow that manga I mentioned? We'll check it out. I think someone will go on. Let's see. Math can calculate the distance my is from my mouse, so I can hate math till the day I die. Sorry, Tiandre. I'm sorry that you hate math so much. I wish you... Well, Tiandre, you have other things you're good at. But I'm sorry you hate math so much. I do feel that math is one of those things that you hate based on the teacher. Like, I had a Haitian teacher, and he taught us what we affectionately called voodoo math during community college. And I really liked voodoo math because he explained things. Like, when I went to Canada, like, the way that the Canadians were teaching me, I was like, I don't understand anything of what you're saying. So when things got dark, I just kind of went back to voodoo math and just did all my stuff based on how he did it. And that carried me through the class more than the Canadian teachers did. Like, some teachers are really good at explaining something, and some teachers are really good at regurgitating things from a textbook, which is really unfortunate.
As a good night should.
Let's see. AI also needs calculus. That's one of the troubles with neural networks. It needs calculus when you're developing the theory of a neural network. So that in of itself is... That's kind of tough. I've seen the math for neural networks, and it's like, I don't understand how you're applying calculus to this, but good God. Okay.
Leave it all to me.
Let's see. Physics engines also need you to be able to understand the formulas that you're using. But a physics engine, you just pretty much have to put in the formula and you're pretty much good to go.
Nice and spicy.
Shine down.
Booba, get them.
Let's see. Let me just go back and read here. I hate math, but I still get all my work in class done. Well, that's all that really matters, Death Ray. Just, I would say, you know, if you're not one of those people that like school, just kind of do enough to get your B's and C's, and then, you know, move on with your life kind of thing. Don't let it stress you out too much. I would recommend... Death Ray, are you still a kid? I know that Omar is still a kid. Like, I would just recommend, like, make sure that you develop some level of skill so that when you get to the point where you're not in school, you can go into, like, a technical vocation at the very least. Just because if you go into vocations, the world needs more people in vocations and trades and all that kind of stuff. So you'll be pretty set after a few years of toiling. Once you become, like, a contractor and all that kind of stuff, you can make a lot of money. You can make a lot of good money. Let's see. He has Tamura lend his body so that Tamura doesn't die from Endeavor's fire. He then tries to steal Alt 1 for all, but when that fails, he actually loses control of Tamura. He then says that Tamura isn't complete, that he wasn't able to steal Alt. He then urges Shigaraki to retreat, literally saying he must do it so that he can live to fight another day. Yeah, I mean, mind you, like, if Tamura dies there, All for One vestige also dies, and he probably wants to preserve. Oh, Tiandre, I play Pokemon Unite. I haven't played it in a few weeks, but I still play it. I just finished reading chapter 1 and got a normal isekai vibe with a hint of Adifureta and a lot of overlord with more edge, to put it simply. Oh yeah, Kayla, it's just you wait. And electromagnetism? Yeah. I was very interested in electromagnetism back when I still believed in school. I thought of doing electromagnetism and then maybe going into psychology to study the effects on to study the effects of electromagnetism on the brain, because from what I've seen, there's a lot of indicators that electromagnetism does affect the brain and maybe causes hallucinations. So I was also a kid that when growing up, I really liked studying the Bermuda Triangle, and I know all the myths about the Bermuda Triangle and all the first-hand accounts. So I was really interested in that, but then like school kind of beat it out of me, and then now I'm here. I don't know, if I ever go back to school, if I'm not doing archaeology or something like that, or like studying towards becoming something having to do with archaeology, I might just end up going back and trying to find a school that has a field of study that brings physics into psychology. Tiana said, I used to love math, but then I met algebra, and after that failure, I've never recovered. That's too much. Teach me voodoo math, Trip. Oh, man. I'll have to look for my notes from that teacher, man. I gotta find him, man. Like, but he's good. He was a good teacher. He just explained calculus really nicely. It made a lot of sense. To this day, I still remember the things that this guy taught me, and it's like, wow, that was only a year. I only spent a year with this man, and I still remember some of the basic tricks for how to solve some of the harder derivatives. But I gotta tell you guys, in terms of calculus, like the rate of change, being able to so easily predict the rate at which something changes, that is actually like really cool. That is a legitimately cool mathematical thing to do. Mind you, like, it's just like the rate of change is one of the things I think is actually very useful. Just because if you're doing stuff that involves fluids, it becomes very practical. Mind you, like when you're working with fluids at like an oil company, you're using machines. The only people that really have to worry about the formulas that they're using are usually people doing things by hand, which would be like third world country mechanics, and people designing new machinery, which those are very specific vocations, so it's not like something that would come up in everyday life. Like really, math is there for the trailblazers. It's not really there for people that work off of the backs of others. So if you want to be a trailblazer, math would be the way to expand your horizons. But if you're just going to be an office worker, you can pretty much just coast on everything that people have made before you.
Think you can get away?
If you're a circuit designer, it goes back. You need math, right? Again, anyone that's designing things for the first time, they kind of need math.
Nice and spicy. Now you shall perish.
Tiandre's gone. Let's see. How, even with all the support he's given, it's amazing that Tamora can still move. Yeah. Stethway's still in high school. Yeah, man. If I just want to make sure that anyone that's still in school, if they don't feel that they're up to snuff for college, you know, I just want to make sure people know that they can go to community college, and they can also go to technical institutes. And technical institutes typically have co-op programs that let you get work experience while you're doing the year, so you might be able to get a job right when you get out of school. And that's something that you can't really do at university unless you're really good at networking.
You're toast.
Let's see. Well, I think he... Rather than taking over Shigaraki, again, he instead keeps urging Tamura to retreat and even focuses on a support role, utilizing quirks to ensure that Tamura can keep fighting. He even remarks about how he, even with all the support that he's giving, it's amazing Tamura can move. Yeah, no, for me, it's still just to me, I just still see that as a resource protection. All For One has spent so much he has spent so much resources on Shigaraki. Like, if I was All For One, I wouldn't want to lose Shigaraki either, kind of thing. Like, at the end of the day, I still see Shigaraki as a battery of hate. And All For One wants that hate battery. Oh, Trip, in the latest board, Sasuke lost his Rinnegan and Naruto lost Kurama. The fight was why I got back into the anime. Ah, that fight, gotcha. Being forced to learn something makes it hard to enjoy. Agreed. Random to me, that was a joke in the story, and part of the many reasons why I don't like that story. Okay, let's see. Finish chapter 2. I'll wait for the other chapter to become free. Honestly, I can understand why this guy was so upset and ready to take the vengeance, but this man should have killed the ones who treated him like trash and weren't that kind to him. It wasn't necessary to kill the innocent people, so he decided to not stay in the fantasy world and came back to all this darkness. Yeah, but don't worry, Kayla. Like, the guy is just, he broke at his darkest moment, and he broke in the most aggressive way possible. But that's why you don't want to give people that can break all that kind of power, right? Mind you, it gets interesting later on because of the wrinkle that pops up, and it goes back to just don't give power to manipulatable people. Renegon, Sarge says. So many things to do.
Is there time for a quick snack? I'll whip one.
Let's see. Yeah, okay, I caught up to all the comments. Nice. There's still so much of the event left. This is going to take a lot of time. I really never expected the Boruto anime to get to this part of the manga since there really isn't that much material left. More filler arcs, hooray. Right? It's really odd to me. Like, we started with so many filler arcs, and now we are somehow right there with the manga. That's crazy. How did this even happen? How have we reached this moment? Ah, good times. I just find it strange for someone who's supposed to plan to permanently take over Shigaraki to continue to refer to Shigaraki as separate from himself. I'm waiting for White Despair to write the rest of that comment. Popular is how we reached this moment. Boruto's story is just, oh, Gohan. For Gohan, I feel bad that you can't enjoy Boruto, but then again, like I don't fully enjoy Boruto either. I really would have just liked more adventures with Naruto. I really don't need another kid taking over the story. I would have been fine seeing Naruto be like Goku. I would be totally fine with a Dragon Ball Z type story with Goku and Naruto taking over. And just seeing stuff. And then, occasionally you can have an arc about Boruto teaming up with his dad. It's just like, I'd rather, if you're going to do a Next Generation show, you don't power down the characters. Instead, just let them continue growing and maturing. He says that Tomura must live to fight another day. He says that's what commands with Radio Wave is something that Tomura can't do yet. Even in this he still refers to Shigaraki as a separate entity. Well, like again, for me, White Despair, I don't see the problem when you just consider that All For One sees Shigaraki as an essential piece on the chessboard. Like, you still have ownership if you say that All For One sees Shigaraki as a chess piece, and then you still have the separation if you see that All For One sees Shigaraki as a piece. I don't see the problem here, and even if he does the takeover, like, I feel like the takeover is one of many options. I feel like if Shigaraki is a useful pawn, I don't think All For One will ever have to take over Shigaraki. I think, though, if All For One ever gets dusted, I think he's going to be very happy just becoming fully formed in Shigaraki's consciousness and then taking over Shigaraki whenever he needs to do something himself. Like, I really don't see the problem here in this interpretation. It's just like All For One has many options at this point. And I don't see anything wrong with protecting a resource that you still want to use. Like, at the end of the day, All For One still needs Shigaraki to maintain his sentience, because he still needs Shigaraki to have his hate sink ready. Because Shigaraki's hate is the only thing that's going to let him get enough fuel to get One For All according to him. So, because of that, he needs Shigaraki to still have some degree of autonomy. Oh, Kayla, what volume is that, Kayla? What's the volume for that school briefs? Isn't weekly anime the best way to catch up to manga super fast, and that why there are a lot of filler arc for that kind of format? Yeah, no, weekly anime will catch up pretty quickly. It's just Boruto had so many filler arcs that I'm actually surprised that they stopped doing the filler and just went into the material and just caught up so quickly. Felix Dragon Ball Super and not have an anime for years. Then when an anime gets announced, it's not based off the manga. Dragon Ball Super Superhero. Volume 5. Okay, gotcha, Kayla. I'll have to go look for that one as well.
If you ever have it.
Let's see. Is there anything else worth talking about? Let me very quickly Google. Oh, Gohan, by the way, I just wanted to say thanks for getting involved, Gohan, and having that very spirited discussion with me. You know, you always come here and we're always stuck talking about My Hero Academia, but I hope you had fun having that discussion about Paul and all of them. I think we had good topics in that one, and it was really fun talking about it. Miguel, are you still there? Miguel, I was just going to ask you, Miguel, are you watching the new Digimon show? If Miguel's still there, of course. Now, let me just check something here.
If there's nothing better to do, we could go foraging for ingredients.
White Despair said, that's another thing I wanted to bring up. Everyone goes on about how All for One has options and contingent, but I think that's being really blown out of the water at this point. Yeah, maybe. Like, in my mind, I think that All for One has to have contingencies, or he must have, like, some idea of other little plans to be able to say that he's still doing everything according to plan. It's just, like, the reason I think he has some idea, or he keeps his options open, is just because he seems so passive, and he seems to want to tell everyone that... He seems to want to give off this idea, like, recently, that he's keeping track of everything. So that's what I think. Mind you, I don't think he has that many options. I think he has, like, maybe 3 or 4 options. Because, like, 3 or 4 options is actually reasonable if you're a villain. I think having 3 backup plans is probably okay. And, like, when you look at All for One's initial rhetoric, he's the kind of person that was willing to give Shigaraki more opportunities to fail. So, for that thing, like... By design, All for One seems to be allowing of failure under the assumption that he thinks he can allow Shigaraki to fail while also recovering from the failure well enough. So he has allowances for failure if we take what he said to Shigaraki seriously. And what I'm seeing here, he probably does have allowances for failure. Like at the end of the day, he had an allowance for Nagant's failure. So I don't know, White Despair. Are you fully against All for One having contingency plans? Or do you think he has some contingency plans, but not an exaggerated amount?
Is there time for a quick snack? I'll whip one up in no time.
From what we've seen in the story, All for One giving Tamura the All for One quirk is the entire plan, and everything is being hinged on that one thing. He believes that Tamura will succeed and has bet on everything on that, and has bet everything on that fact. Okay. Don't you just love it when anime characters looking at each other only to pass by each other in public without noticing? Yes. I realized what you were talking about. Yeah, White Despair. I mean, this is one of those things where I don't think I'll be able to convince you otherwise until we see All for One say it himself at the end. So we'll have to see what All for One ultimately says. In that case, like, I can still make that kind of work in the narrative, just in the narrative of All for One has plans. Just in the case that if you say that that's the one thing that All for One wants to succeed at, then he has many measures in place to make sure that he gets Shigaraki to that point. And if we go back to the idea that All for One allows Shigaraki to fail, then yeah, it would say that he has some measures in place to ensure that Shigaraki ends up at the point that he wants to get to. But I do see the distinction in what you're saying. When the heroes raid the hospital, the doctor states that when All Might showed up, All for One sensed that his time was over, so he decided to entrust everything to his successor. Yes, that is a very good line for your purposes, White Despair. When the pod Shigaraki was in was broken, the doctor was distraught because everything was over. All for One's dream was ended in that moment. Yes, I recall. That's a good one to use against people that are really wanting to say that All for One has everything under control. But then again, All for One wasn't directly involved in the planning of that situation. So that would probably be one of the most vulnerable periods for All for One's plans, if we want to call them that. Let's see. While White Despair is writing something up, I am just looking to see if there's any news that's worth talking about in terms of anime. Let's see. Nothing that I can really see here. And guys, once White Despair is done talking there, I'll probably end it in like 4 or 5 minutes. I think we'll be able to get everything that White Despair is wanting to say within that time frame. And I can't really see what I'm reading here, so let me just very quickly go through. Ah, there we go. The only reason All for One's plan is still on track is because Homura has such a strong will that he's literally able to come back from the dead. Just doesn't really fit the image that of All for One people are projecting. I agree. I assume you're going to say projecting it some more. But yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. Like, All for One's plans do have vulnerabilities in it. Yeah, I'm not seeing that much anime news on Anime News Network either. So I guess there's not really much else to talk about for the night. Tomorrow we'll probably be getting the spoilers, fingers crossed. It'd be extremely nice if we end up... getting them very early like last time. But we'll have to see. What's your top manga to be caught up in weekly? For the purposes of the channel right now, it's My Hero Academia, I guess. But if there's manga that I love catching up with, it's Fire Force, Eden Zero, and right now 7 Deadly Sin sequel. But yeah, White Despair, I agree with that. Like, the image of All for One is a lot more fallible than people are willing to say. I do agree with that very much. Even early in the series, the Doctor talks about how he believes things will go faster if All for One himself was involved. All for One remarks that he'll leave everything to Tomura, only stepping in if Tomura screws up or whatever. Himself asks for it. And yeah, no worries, Distorted. Will power bring back dead? It's so cringy. Probably not. Let's see. Yeah, I don't really see anything else here. Anyway, guys, let's I just realized we are in the low end of crew. In the low end? Oh, yeah. You saying Eden Zero brought tears to my eyes. Beautiful. Great death ray. Anyway, guys, let's call it there. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a late night probably because of, well, it'll be Hero Academia. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for being here. I'll start saying the good nights. So, good night to Gohan. Good night to Death Ray. Good night to Speed. Good night to White Despair. It just seems like a more accurate description would be a master who has great faith in his apprentice, rather than mastermind with a ton of with tons of contingency plans. People try and argue he is. Well, for me, it's just like, I feel like he has one masterpiece plan that he's been working towards, and he has many countermeasures to make sure that he gets his masterpiece plan working. Anyway, yeah. Thanks, White Despair, for the comments. Good night to Chris, Sarge, Random, Animamus, Mark, IAN683, Viz, Robert, Speed, John, and yeah, White Despair, and Gohan. Everyone, let's call it there. Ending the stream in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Till next time, everybody. I'm going to sleep. It's going to be good. Going to sleep early today.